Lajoie Grand Prix of Figure Skating 2022, MK John Wilson Trophy in Sheffield. This is an event of the International Skating Union and hosted by British Ice Skating. This is the fourth event on the calendar, with a final in December in Torino, Italy, and the first in Great Britain. In just a few moments with
Welcome to Sheffield for the fourth event on the International Skating Union's Grand Prix series. Seeing scenes from the beautiful Peak District, just a short drive from the venue of the competition, which is the first time that a Grand Prix senior event has come to the UK. There you can see MK John Wilson Trophy Sheffield 2022. MK John Wilson, the title sponsors of the Grand Prix, the home of the blades that so many of the skaters will perform upon. Sheffield, the steel city, renowned for its production of steel. And as I mentioned, the home for the creation of the blades, which the majority of the athletes competing here in Sheffield will skate upon. This now day 2 of 3 in this fourth stage of the Grand Prix series. Yesterday we saw the start of the pairs competition and the men's event, and now we look ahead to the start of the ice dance competition with the rhythm dance coming up next. Congratulations to the British Ice Skating Association and Ice Sheffield for hosting this event at relatively short notice, reallocation of the location for this Grand Prix stage, and a wonderful opportunity for the British skating community to see some of the world's very best ice skaters. Now we see the start order for the rhythm dance. And this start order for the first section of the competition based upon world ranking of the skaters, and thus the reason that Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri from Italy will be the final team to compete of the 10 skating in the rhythm dance. And they have just won the Grand Prix de France last week in Angers. And now to the list of 9 judges who will be casting their eyes upon the 5 elements in the rhythm dance. And this year, for the senior ice dancers, it's a Latin style for the rhythm dance. And the skaters and the teams must choose at least 2 different dance styles from salsa, bachata, merengue, mambo, cha-cha, rumba and samba. And it's been a lively and entertaining rhythm dance that we've been able to enjoy on the first 3 Grand Prix events, with Madison Chalk and Evan Bates winning gold in Skate America, Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, the Canadians, winning in Canada, and as I mentioned, Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri, the Italian team, who were just off the podium at the World Championships, winning last week in France. And they'll be looking to secure another 15 points with a win here and book a place to the Grand Prix final, which takes place next month in Italy. Many of the main players for the Grand Prix final yet to compete in their second assignment. Current leaders of the standings, Marie-Jade Loriot and Romain Legac from Canada, with 18 points following their participation in Skate America and Skate Canada. Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri will face stiff competition from the British champions, the poster skaters for this MK John Wilson Trophy, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson, who will be in their second Grand Prix assignment. And the first group of 5 ice dance teams take to the ice. All of the teams will have had chance to practice this morning on this ice surface. As we see the first team, Maria Holubtsova and Bielobrov from the Ukraine. The second team to the ice, Fabbri and Ayer. Haley Sales, Nicholas Wamsteeker. And a couple that competed last week, Maria Kazakova and Revia from Georgia. With the final team in this group, Natalie Taschlerova and Philip Taschler, the brother and sister team. And practices in Sheffield have been as we've come to expect on the Grand Prix. Lots of near collisions, and we just hope all the skaters stay safe during the warm-up as they prepare for their performance in the rhythm dance. Maria Holubtsova and Bielobrov, the Ukrainian team, have recently relocated to Montreal, and the Ice Academy of Montreal has 6 ice dance teams competing of the 10 in this competition. And the support that they have given to the Ukrainians has been incredibly well received and appreciated by Maria and Kirill. And another team working from the Ice Academy, Fabbri and Ayer. Only Grand Prix assignment for Alicia and Paul. Great opportunity to stake their claim as serious contenders in Canada. As we see fellow teammates Haley Sales and Nicholas Wamsteeker. They working with Scott Moyer, one half of the most successful Olympic figure skaters of all time, Tessa Birchie and Scott Moyer. And this team explaining that Scott is blending his style with theirs. As we see the team of Maria Kazakova and Revia, the team that competed in Algiers last week. They'll be looking to move higher in their score this season. They had 68.84 in the Grand Prix de France just 7 days ago. Competition experience hopefully motivating them to better personal best here. As we see the brother and sister pairing, Natalie Taschlerova and Philip Taschler, warming up with their curved lift. All of the teams must include a short lift in the rhythm dance. Cannot exceed 7 seconds. Will incur a minimum 1 point deduction. And the Czech team have a really interesting free dance. I want to speak about climate change in their choreography, which we can enjoy tomorrow. But as mentioned, all of the teams today performing to Latin rhythms. Each each of the 10 ice dance couples will have sequential twizzles as part of their planned program content. And new this season, a pattern dance type step sequence. No compulsory dance or pattern dance this season for the seniors. The ice dance technical committees wanting to change things up a little bit, offer different elements for the teams and the choreographers within the rhythm dance this year, with it being the beginning of a new Olympic cycle. Opportunity for some changes and some new element construction throughout the season. The world of ice dance will decide whether or not that's something to use as we continue in this Olympic cycle. Kazakova and Revia. A recent coaching change. And they're working with Matteo Zani, who is responsible for 2 of the teams in this group. He also, along with Barbara Silna, coaching the Czech team here. And that concludes the 5-minute warm-up for the ice dancers. Thus leaving the ice for the first team to compete in the ice dance competition at the MK John Wilson Trophy. Maria and Kirill using samba, rumba and samba as their Latin dance rhythms.
All these dollars all around, dollar bills, yeah, dollar bills. Carly, yeah, you've been staring at me. I feel like there's nothing in my way. All this money on me, it feels amazing. I don't wanna talk, I'm dancing. I don't need no fake love, no, I don't need no favor. When the sun is warm here on the beach, I feel you near me.
There's the pattern dance type step sequence. Each partner must do 2 difficult turns.
Your hair, your kisses. I begin to tremble. When the sun is warm.
A great skate from the Ukrainian team of Maria Holubtsova and Bielobrov. And there is no doubt that this team has been through so much of late. And I'm sure they would want to thank all those that have supported them in being able to compete on the Grand Prix this year. The Ice Academy of Montreal, so supportive of them and their competitive endeavors this season. And interestingly, Olivia Smart, the Spanish ice dance champion, has offered them accommodation. They're using her apartment in Montreal while she relocates back to the UK for some work over here. Fascinatingly, Olivia started to train in this very venue. So some odd synchronicities. As Roman Aganauer greets the team off the ice. Clean skate for the Ukrainians. Level 4 on twizzles for both. The best element of the program, the first of the 5. And finishing with a level 4 on the rotational lift to conclude their rhythm dance as well. Maria acknowledging on her social media the constant stress and constant worries that they have in regards to their family and friends at home. And of course, all of the athletes challenges in life as they navigate competing at the most elite of levels. But particular respect to Maria and Kirill for coming out here and delivering without any hint of that they're dealing with. And this opportunity of competing on the Senior Grand Prix will undoubtedly enhance them now that they're training in Montreal with some of the very best teams in the world. Their improvement rate likely to be exponential, but competition gives that extra little bit of energy and a whole other set of experiences, seeing how the very best in the world will compete.
When the sun is warm here on the beach.
Roman Aganauer, often here in Sheffield in this venue. He's consistently here at the British National Championships for students that he and the Ice Academy of Montreal coach. He had 61.21 at Skate America at the start of the Grand Prix. 10th of a point higher this time. Consistent for the Ukrainian team to start the rhythm dance competition. And the second team to the ice, and the second team from the Ice Academy of Montreal, Fabbri and Fabbri and Ayer. And they will use salsa, rumba, and salsa. Rotation there from Paul on the first twizzle.
Represento mis accesos, toda la mezcla. No lo pierdas, bro. Latinoamericano de La Habana, te lo mando con sabor mejor. Cuba es mi música.
We can hear the reaction from the audience to Alicia Fabbri and Fabbri and Ayer from Canada. The Latin rhythms really entertaining all of the audiences at each of the Grand Prix, and those that competed yesterday in the pairs and men's short program acknowledging that the warmth of the audience so appreciated. And I'm sure Alicia and Paul will remember that as they leave the ice following their rhythm dance. Just a shame the opening twizzles that started their rhythm dance lost synchronicity. I think it was Paul that did an extra rotation, and that will cause a drop in the grade of execution for the team on that element. Paul had shoulder surgery a few years ago, but has worked hard on the rehabilitation. No signs of injury for the team. What a great way to start the rhythm dance. Real challenge to keep all of the choreography unique but still befitting of the Latin style. You can see here she exits, he does that one extra rotation. For level 4, the couples want to have 4 rotations a minimum on both the first and second twizzles. If you do in excess of that, not to match. There, the third twizzle, a group C feature, an extra level. Difficult exit feature from the rotational left, pushing the level of that element up to level 4. And that's something we expect from all of the dance teams of this kind of caliber on the Senior Grand Prix. What the team will really be chasing for is an increase in the grade of execution. And we may get to see some elements with a maximum of +5 as the competition progresses. It's a dynamic finish with the knee slide to conclude their rhythm dance. Coach Romain Haguenard, joined now by Marie-France Debreu. She's one of the head coaches at the Ice Academy Montreal and a former world medalist herself, with Patrice Lauzon. 67.45 for Alicia and Paul, short of their personal best, which they secured at the Budapest Trophy on the Challenger Series, but a comfortable lead at this stage.
Representing Canada, Haley Sales.
And another Canadian team. We've seen so many brilliant Canadian ice dancers already in the Grand Prix. Now is the turn of Haley Sales and Nicholas Wamsteeker. And they will use rumba, cha-cha, and samba. Perfect musicality on the straight line left to start. working through the pattern dance type step. 2 difficult turns for each partner. The outside closed mohawk, the difficult turn for Haley to finish. You can see in the top left-hand corner of your screen, not sure if the choreo character step sequence, the 5th and final element was called. Not sure if they got close enough to the barrier at the start of that element, which will be problematic for the Canadian team of Haley Sales and Nicholas Wamsteeker. Character rhythm sequence, a new element in the rhythm dance for the ice dancers this year, and it carries a base value of 2 marks for all of the teams, but the grade of execution will vastly differentiate the amount of points given to that element, and potentially Haley and Nicholas will have dropped a huge number of points with that just not reaching the barrier at the start of the element. This is the straight line left, which was perfect on music. Each of the changes of position and the exit just couldn't have been more appropriate in the phrasing from the music. Looks like now the character rhythm sequence has gone into the system, so that will be a relief for Haley and Nicholas. A couple on and off the ice, dated for 7 years. Allows them to just interpret this Latin style more easily, choosing rumba, cha-cha and samba as their rhythms, and the judges will have been educated on the different Latin styles, and they'll be ascertaining how well the team has picked up on the nuances between the different Latin styles. So rumba often will be used in the rhythm dance by the teams because it's the most uniquely different to the likes of the samba and cha-cha that they picked as the other Latin dance styles. But even within the cha-cha and samba, ideally trying to find as many characteristics of that Latin dance style from the ballroom floor as they can. So a personal best for Haley and Nicholas of 66.04. They scored that at the US International Classic on the Challenger Series earlier in the year. As they're joined by Scott Moir, who has an absolute plethora of Olympic medals with his partner Tessa Virtue, and it's just wonderful to see him sharing his knowledge with the next generation. 63.35 for Sales and Wamsteeker. And they slot in between Fabbri, Ayer and the Ukrainian team who started the rhythm dance competition.
Representing Georgia, Maria Kazakova and Revia.
The Georgian ice dance team who competed at the Grand Prix de France in Angers last week here in Sheffield at the MK John Wilson Trophy. Maria Kazakova and Guignard and Revia with samba, rumba and samba. You can see great reaction from the judges to all 5 of the elements for Kazakova and Revia from Georgia. And the team competed in France last week, and such a hard turnaround from event to event with just 1 week in between. And yet I think they've really benefited from the competition experience last week. They were sidelined by a back injury that forced him to take some time off in the off-season, and I'm sure there were nerves and apprehension in their performance in the rhythm dance last week, and now they can come into this event with a little bit more confidence that they can survive this Latin dance, rhythm dance. They moved to Bolzano in August to work with their new coaching staff of Matteo Zani and Barbara Retsnikova. They said that they couldn't be happier in their new training environment. You can see the sequential twizzles through the first element, and last week in Angers they just had a level 3 for Maria on that element, coming in at level 4 here, and also progress on 2 more of the elements. They're coming up with a level 4 in the pattern dance type step sequence, and both skaters getting a level 3 on the midline step. Really impressive call by the team. Difficult to get those high levels on those 2 elements. They were Junior World silver medalists back in 2020. They won the Junior Grand Prix final in Torino in that 2019-2020 season, and now I'm sure aspirations of making a leap up into the senior ranks. They were 15th at Worlds, 19th at Olympics, but now the top 3 teams from the Olympic Games not competing this year. At the beginning of a new Olympic cycle, a real chance to make a statement for the next 4 years. And their personal best rhythm dance score came at that World Juniors, where they finished in 2nd place, and they were just 0.02 of a point over the 70 marker. They'll be desperately eager to top that. And they have, they look surprised, 70.71. Their coach Matteo moves on to their training mates, and the Georgians lead after their rhythm dance. And now the final team to compete in this group, the brother and sister team with the same coaching staff as the Georgians. And they too are using samba, rumba, and samba. This team just has so much speed and ice coverage.
The attraction, the tension, baby, like this is perfection.
Si una vez yo pudiera llegar a rizar de frío tu piel una vez más, mira que al final lo que importa es que te quiero. Si pudiera ser tu héroe, si pudiera ser tu Dios, que salvarte a ti 1000 veces puede ser mi salvación. Quiero ser tu héroe.
Save coming out of the transition there by Philip.
The attraction, the tension, baby, like this is perfection.
They're such a dynamic team with so much speed and power. The Czech champions Natalie, Taschlerova and her brother Philip Taschler. Just so impressed by what they and their coaching staff have been producing on the Junior Grand Prix circuit. Czech skaters Mrazkova and Mrazek, another brother and sister team with the same coaches, have broken junior world records in their Junior Grand Prix assignments. And the speed of both of these teams really impressive. And whilst the Ice Academy of Montreal is producing utterly brilliant work, it's exciting to see other top teams coming from a different training base with a different approach, different style, and arguably different focus slightly. The speed is just so evident as a focus in the approach from the Czech teams. Just a level 2 coming in for Philip on the twizzles. Technical panel must have spotted some Czechs in the rotation. But the grade of execution is still good based on the musicality of it. This, on the music, you can see enunciating the vocals from Natalie. Even in this, on the curved lift, maintaining so much ice coverage in the 1 foot landing. Difficult feature for the level 4. Ooh, they did well. That could have been a pretty cataclysmic disaster for them within the pattern dance type step sequence, but barely noticeable. And here, the volume of work that will have gone into this level of musicality and danceography within the choreo rhythm set. And this move, akin to what you might see Latin dancers do on the ballroom floor.
Let me be your hero.
They posted a 75.41 at Lombardia Trophy. Just shy of that, 74.09 for Natalie and Philip. And they round out that first group with a almost 4-point lead, or 3.5-point lead over the Georgian training mates, Kazakova and Revia. We look ahead to the next 5 teams taking to the ice. Former World Junior silver medalists Christina Carreira and Anthony Ponomarenko. And the reigning World Junior champions Una Brown and Gage Brown. The team that came 3rd at Skate Canada, Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Lagha. And the home favourites, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. And the winners of last week's Grand Prix in France, Charline Guignard and Marco Fabbri. An interesting group. I think the battle for bronze will be intense, as will the battle for gold if the British champions can help use the hometown crowd to edge them ever closer to the world. Number 4 team, Charline Guignard and Marco Fabbri. And the first 3 teams in this warm-up group have all had great success at Junior World Championships, and now this new Olympic cycle, their chance to move ever closer to the world senior podium. Christina Carreira has been with her partner Anthony Ponomarenko for many, many seasons now. 2 World Junior Championship medals to their CV. Back in 2017, they were third there. 2018, they moved up to second place. And this team, the current and reigning world junior champions, they, like the leaders at present, a brother and sister pairing. And they said it was truly a dream come true to win the World Junior Championships. Una Brown and Gage Brown from the United States of America. And another team who have won the World Junior Championships back in 2019, Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Lagha. Marjorie turned 22 on Sunday. Hopes to celebrate with another podium place on the Grand Prix after the third place that they achieved at Skate Canada 2 weeks ago. Now, the crowd will go crazy for the British champions, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. And we're second at Skate Canada, just ahead of Lajoie and Lagha, their training mates. And it has been 38 years since a medal at the World Championships for British skaters. That comes from Torvill and Dean when they won gold in 1984. And now to the team that won last week in Angers, Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri. They've won medals at European Championship before. They were third this year, but now their eyes on World Championship medals. They were slightly disappointed with their scores last week in France. They'll be looking to post bigger scores here to contend with the impressive points that Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier accrued at Skate Canada. Feel for the Italians coming to Britain against the British champions. Just a slight break in the rotation there from Marco. Just having to settle in, using the warm-up time for maximum performance comfort when it comes their time to take to the ice. They were the last team, so 30 to 40 minutes before they will be able to take to the ice for their competition. Brown, Gage Brown, 5 other siblings. And the back inside counter for Zachary Lagha. In this pattern dance type step sequence, 2 different difficult turns each. Here's likely to be an outside closed mohawk for Marjorie. Must be really clear, distinct, and obvious outside edges on that turn for the panel to call it clean. And each difficult turn within the pattern dance type step sequence will achieve a level on that element. We've seen a level 4 already assigned to the Georgian team on that element. Really impressive from them. And now warm-up is over. Leaving the ice for Christina Carreira and Anthony Ponomarenko. It's a Latin dance style that must be used for the rhythm dance, and their music has the lyrics based on Latin rhythms within it, so really cementing the fact that they've chosen appropriate music choice. And they, like Sales and Wamsteeker, share Scott Moore as their coach.
thing that's based on a kind of Latin rhythm known as the bossa nova. But it is not really a bossa nova, but we think that you will dig this because this is the bossa nova. But it is not really a bossa nova, but we got a thing that's based on a kind of Latin rhythm known as the bossa nova.
Difficult entry into the twizzles. Difficult choice of features within it as well.
But we think that you will dig this.
Where do I begin to tell the story of how great love can be? The sweet love story that is older than the sea. The simple truth about the love he brings to me. He fills my heart. He fills my heart with very special things, with angel songs, with wild imaginings. He fills my soul with so much love that anywhere I go, I'm never lonely with him along. Who could be lonely? I reach for his hand. It's always there. How much of your body, baby, to the sun? I don't think it's crazy any longer. Feel the rhythm and the music getting stronger. Don't you gotta do the samba beat. I don't think it's crazy any longer. Feel the rhythm and the music getting stronger. Don't you gotta do the samba beat.
America's Christina Carreira and Antony Ponomarenko. This their first Grand Prix assignment this year. Antony had ankle surgery at the beginning of the season, so spent most of spring and summer recovering from that. And Christina has obviously worked hard on her solo skating skills in his absence. I'm sure she'll be delighted to have her partner back. Nice to see that camaraderie and connection between Antony and Gage Brown, who will compete next. And this couple, as I mentioned, two-time World Junior Championship medalists, somewhat having to wait their turn. This depth of talent and quality in American ice dance has been so incredible over the last Olympic cycle, and now the retirement of Madison Hubble and Zachary Donoghue potentially offers them the chance to step up onto the senior world championship team for the States. Indeed, now they have Madison Hubble working with them on their team.
Latin rhythm known as the bossa nova. But
So both
not really a bossa
Christina
nova,
and
but we
Antony
think that
being awarded a level 3 within this midline step sequence. So getting 4 types of difficult turns considered cleanly performed
this is
by the tech
bossa
panel.
nova.
They have
But it is
really
not
committed
bossa
for
nova.
so many
We gotta
seasons.
think
Previously
that
they worked with Igor Spielband and Pasquale Carmelengo.
Latin rhythm
Now they've relocated to work with the Ice
known as
Academy.
bossa nova.
And now Scott Moore at the helm. So much commitment. Just cannot underestimate the amount of life commitment by the teams to their craft. Huge, huge sacrifices in life and training and geography of where they commit in the next 4 years, hopefully, as they intend to make the 2026
But we think
Olympic
that
team.
you will dig this.
And the personal best for Christina and Anthony comes from some time ago at the Asian Open Figure Skating Trophy back in 2019. Hoping to return to that level where they had a 78 in the rhythm dance. But satisfactory and nods of approval for 75 for the American team, who lead over Taschlerova and Taschler from the Czech Republic. And now to Una Brown and Gage Brown, the brother and sister team, the reigning world junior champions, stepping up onto the Senior Grand Prix at the MK John Wilson Trophy in Sheffield.
Give me some time to think. I'm in the bathroom looking at me. Facing the mirror is all I need.
My patience is waning. Is this entertaining? My patience is waning. Is this entertaining? I got this feeling, and you know where I'm losing all control. Is this magic in my bones? I got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. Is this magic in my bones? I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so special about that day. Even your emotions had echoes in so much space. That made me crazy. That made me crazy. That made me crazy. Probably. Patience is waning. Is this entertaining? Our patience is waning. Is this entertaining? I got this feeling, and you know where I'm losing all control. Is this magic in my bones? I got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. Is this magic in my bones? I got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. Is this magic in my bones? There goes my
An impressive debut on the Senior Grand Prix for the brother and sister team, Una Brown and Gage Brown. And a fist pump to celebrate. And that was another great rhythm dance. Hard to separate the teams at this caliber of competition. No visible mistakes. I thought there was good use of transitions with the holds within the rhythm dance, and the real challenge for the teams to try to take the Latin feel and flavor from the ballroom floor to the ice. while still ticking the boxes that the judges need for the skating skills component score. Particularly impressive that use of head movements as well within the twizzle as transitional content from Una too. And just great to see a completely different composition given the different choreographers that they use. They're greeted by Joel Deere, their coach. He must be beyond proud of his charges. Here, the left outside rocker within the midline step sequence. And then this back outside double twizzle, another one of the difficult turns that they used to try to up the level. And the catch, the leg feature within the twizzles, possibly a little check on the rotation there. Only allowed one step in between the first and second twizzles in the rhythm dance. Here, this is where she used her head. Oh, maybe not. Some nice subtle touches throughout. And we see in the ice dance circuit that having been a junior world champion doesn't translate to the same level of success on the senior ranks that it might otherwise do in the single skating, particularly in the women's event. And it is an unspoken necessity for longevity in ice dance. The skating skill quality from Una and Gage Brown, and I'm sure each and every event, particularly being surrounded by the likes of Guignard and Fabbri here, their maturity will blossom, thus boosting the presentation mark. What a finished position to sustain at the end of a difficult rhythm dance. They both play in an Irish marching band. They both referee soccer. And as I say, they've got 5 other siblings. How they managed to fit in their training, really admirable. 70.34.
Luca, what's up? And Anessa, of course.
Entertaining team. And now to the team who were 3rd at Skate Canada. Former junior world champions also back in 2019. Marjorie Lajoie, who turned 22 on Sunday with her partner Zachary Lagha.
This is something new that we remix for you, featuring Cha-Cha and C. And this time, we're gonna get funky. Funky. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. All right, now, we're gonna do the basic step. To the left. Bring it back now, y'all. One hop this time.
Fastest speed of rotation of all the teams so far within the twizzles.
One hop this time. One hop this time. Right foot 2 stomps. Left foot 2 stomps. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Crisscross. Cha-cha real slow. Cha-cha now, y'all.
Safely through the choreo character rhythm steps. And a slight wobble on that in Skate Canada.
Let's go to work. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. One hop this time. Reverse. Reverse, reverse. Freeze. Everybody clap your hands. Cha-cha now, y'all.
nada, sai da minha frente que eu quero passar. Pois o samba está animado, o que eu quero é sambar. Esse samba que é misto de maracatu. É samba de preto velho, samba de preto tu.
Zachary just rotating at such an incredible speed through the rotational lift. Wow, epic energy from Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Lagha. They had that slight stumble in Skate Canada within their rhythm dance, and I thought Zachary looked really frustrated with himself, even though it was a tiny little blip, and yet they've come out here in Sheffield. Oh, just incredible attack and commitment. Now that may be something that is evident in all of their training sessions, but that is not easy. The level of conviction to each part of the rhythm dance, incredibly impressive. I'm fascinated to consider who suggested the cha-cha slide as their Latin dance style music choice. I think it could be very easy to beat twee with that music choice, and yet they deliver it so brilliantly and so entertainingly. Testament to the epic skating skills they have that can pull that off, as they're greeted by Marie-France Debreu. Everybody clap your hands.
Everybody clap your hands.
And that, the jump feature, a difficult entry, one of the features, the catch of the blade and the constantly moving arms, all features within this. Ever so slightly out of sync. So it won't be the maximum +5 grade of execution. Pretty close, as we see. Forward inside counter, maybe just a slight change of edge there. And it will be that level of scrutiny which will affect the result here. Levels on the step sequence and the pattern dance type step will dictate, I'm sure, a lot of the standings. Marjorie and Zachary come here with 11 points already on the Grand Prix based on that third place they had at Skate Canada. So currently they are 9th in the standings. Their challenge is to try to be in the top 6 for qualification to the Grand Prix final. En route to winning the Budapest Trophy, they had a personal best of 82. But a high five for Marie-France Debreu and an 81.09 for the Canadians, who lead comfortably with two teams left to skate. Now, an amazing opportunity that they thought might never happen to compete in a Grand Prix in your home country. The British champions, fresh from the success in Skate Canada, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. Safely through the twizzles.
Dime por qué lloras
de felicidad,
y por qué te ahogas.
por la soledad.
No me dejes, no me dejes, no me escuches si te digo no me ames.
No me dejes, no desarmes mi corazón con ese no me ames.
No me ames porque estoy perdido, porque cambia el mundo, porque es el destino.
No me ames.
Very clever use of hold for the outside closed mohawk for Lila. Incredible exit from the left. What an incredible moment for the British team. Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. Just a phenomenal rhythm dance for the British champions who have so much pressure heaped upon them here. The first time that a Grand Prix has taken place in the United Kingdom. And just incredible scenes for them to absolutely savor. I'm sure competing at the Olympic Games in Beijing brought huge stress and responsibility, but potentially echoed here. They've competed in this very rink for all of their British titles, but a completely different atmosphere and sense of responsibility being the front-running British skaters at the Grand Prix, the MK John Wilson Trophy. And they continue to go from strength to strength. They've had such a busy season. 3 internationals before they competed even at Skate Canada, winners of all of them. And the level of layering within the rhythm dance and the nuances picked out with arm movements and head movements increasing as the season progresses, as they continue to develop and hone and refine this composition. That's just so impressive as the difficult exit on the rotational left. And the level of intensity, not showing any signs of nerves, despite the pressure placed upon them here. And such a fun team. Last season, they gave their time and energy to young British ice dancers, relaying their experiences of training with the world's very best at the Ice Academy in Montreal. And now, this season in the new Olympic cycle, instead of being the youngsters there, they are the more experienced seasoned team, with increasing numbers looking up to them for the brilliance that they're offering. Nice to see Lewis sporting a poppy in remembrance as well. Personal best at Nebelhorn, 85.8. And 85 again for Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson, who, well, I am sure remember this really for the rest of their lives. Special scenes for the Brits at the British Grand Prix. And now, big challenge for Charline Guignard and Marco Fabbri. The reigning European Championship bronze medalists. They were 4th at Worlds, 5th at the Olympic Games. And they will skate to samba, rumba, and samba.
Music's turned off, guys. This is my voice, my weapon of choice. This is life. This is life. This is a creed. This is a code. This is a story I didn't make up. This is a girl lost in the woods. Some come from some other world.
Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri complete their rhythm dance. The last team to the ice at the MK John Wilson Trophy in the rhythm dance. And total respect to them for delivering such a clean skate. Really, the feeling of pressure upon them palpable following the British team at the British Grand Prix. And they will need a higher score than that which they achieved at the Grand Prix de France. Last week they had 83.52 at that event. They'll need more than 85.37 to beat the British team. Interestingly, the technical panel just reviewing the twizzles for Charlene and Marco, currently coming in at just a level 3. So they potentially losing about 3/4 of a point if that stays in. And they won their first Grand Prix last week, which huge accomplishment. Obviously now in this new Olympic season, there's a different sense of pressure and expectation. No longer is a win the joyous occasion that it would be when it comes as an expectation. And for me, this team definitely stronger skating skills than the Brits. Potentially though, the presentation component score for the Tynes might not be as strong as the Brits based on the energy and the expressiveness that Lila and Lewis gave, buoyed by the home crowd. Now that the technical panel has reviewed the twizzles, both Charlene and Marco awarded a level 4. Level 4 in the lift. And level 4 in the pattern dance type step sequence. So their coach Barbara Fusarpoli will be satisfied with the improvements from last week. And Barbara, always with her stopwatch, totally invested in her students. And you can see the emotion that she has as they eagerly anticipate and wait the scores. They did at Lombardia Trophy on the Challenger Series in their home country post an 87-point score. Anxious wait. So Barbara breathes a sigh of relief as the favourites Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri posted 86 score and lead the Brits in what was an incredibly exciting ice dance rhythm dance. Congratulations to the Italians and all of the 10 dance teams. It was an incredibly exciting event. The result, perhaps as expected, but particularly wonderful to know it comes on the back of some brilliant skates from all the teams. And now you can see the commitment by the skaters. All of the skaters on the ice, local skaters, British skaters, and some of them have competed on the Junior Grand Prix and now here helping to make sure that the ice is at absolute best quality. When any gouges made by the ice dancers are filled, and the Zamboni will come out to resurface for the next event, which will be the women's short program. Previously, Sheffield was the host to the European Championships 10 years ago, but that was in the Sheffield Arena, a short walk from here. Nice Sheffield, home of the MK John Wilson Trophy this weekend, as we see Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Lagha improving on their last competitive outing on the Grand Prix. And this Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson delivering under the pressure of being the home nation skaters. And they really created some special memories, delighting the home crowd in the rank that they've won their British titles at. And perhaps it's relief for Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabbri, the European bronze medalists and the winners at the Grand Prix de France last week, showcasing superior skating skills to lead the field ahead of the free dance, which will take place tomorrow. But for now, we have an ice resurface, and join us shortly for the start of the women's competition in the women's short program coming up next.